Well, g'day guys. Tim here from Beat the Reset, and of course we're all the way from Australia. And where are we, Mr. Bish? I have the Baron of Bitcoin. All right.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you. We're here on the Las Vegas Boulevard, also known as the Strip, in front of the Bellagio, which you are staying at. I mean, business must be booming, Sir Tim.
Bish, the only reason you're not staying there is because you're trying to look like you're doing it hard. You don't look like you're doing it hard to me, buddy.
No, we're living a good life.
It was a long plane ride from Australia. How long did it take you to get here?
14 hours to Los Angeles, and then an hour and a half to Vegas. But we're finally here, settled up. Good nap last night, and then we got to catch up for a bit of whiskey sours as well.
Few whiskey sours?
Yes.
Well, here we are. I mean, it's an amazing place, Las Vegas. I've got to be honest. It doesn't sleep. It seems to go all night.
Yep, absolutely.
A little bit like the opposite to our country. But so we are here. Now, Bish, do you want to tell people why we're here? What are we here for?
We're here for Bitcoin 2025, a huge conference. There's over 30,000 attendees here. JD Vance, Vice President of America, is actually going to be speaking. We've got Michael Saylor, Peter Schiff as well. Notorious Gold Bull is going to be at the conference as well. So, yeah, you know what would be really interesting if there was a panel full of panelists, as Sam would say.
A panel of panelists?
With Sam and Peter Schiff on one side and myself and Michael Saylor on the other, with yourself as the moderator. And then we'll see which asset class combination would really take home the biscuit.
Well, look, I think it's a matter of time, Bish, until the boys from Australia are coming to these conferences and heading them up. So
absolutely,
but, it won't be too long. Now, listen, let's get into what's going on in the world of Bitcoin at the moment. Bitcoin had a meteoric rise. It's up to 100 and where are we? We're at 110.
We're at 110 at the moment. What I would like to say is that this is very much driven by the state of affairs in the United States. So there's really a few main things, and we just have to just bang through them. We can't really spend too much time on each case, but always contact Tim. He's a man of knowledge, so we can always discuss this in greater detail. You can come and speak to me directly as well. But the gist of it is that the United States is pushing through legislation through its Stablecoin Act that's going to mandate the private companies that issue stablecoins, such as Tether and Circle, that they can only buy long-dated treasuries in order to suppress the interest rate expense that's going through there. They've also removed the capital restrictions on commercial banks within the United States to not be able to buy treasuries on massive amounts of leverage. There was a bit of music in the background. We got to let
a bit of a vibe going on.
But, the United States has now told their commercial banks that you guys don't have to limit your purchases based off how much leverage you're using. So essentially, they're doing whatever they can to support the Ponzi. They're allowing commercial banks to use leverage to buy their credit instruments. Right. So that's huge, guys. That's huge. And amongst other things, the Republicans have pushed through a bill to increase their deficit spending by 33%, which takes their debt ceiling from 37 trillion to 42 trillion.
They don't look like they're trying to pay it down anytime soon.
No. So, and also Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has come out and said, guys, not only forget about Doge, we're not going to worry about Doge anymore. We're not going to worry about cuts. We're not going to be worrying about decreasing the deficit. What we're going to do is we're going to increase GDP. We're going to focus on being a more economic powerhouse. We're going to focus on increasing our productivity. We're going to increase our GDP in order to decrease our debt to GDP ratio. So there's a lot going on. I'd love to get your thoughts on it as well. But the main thing that is showing me is a lot of weakness in the treasury and credit market, which increases the attractiveness of neutral assets such as Bitcoin and gold.
Well, I'm glad you asked my opinion on that, because I love that summary you just gave. I also think we have to look at Europe as well. I think the European Central Bank is key to what's going on here. I think what I'm watching is two different gameplays. I think the United States will set up and ready to transition out of their currency. And I think the European Central Bank will be the first one to introduce a central bank digital currency through Christine Lagarde, of course, and Ursula von der Leyen. Sehr schöne Fräulein. So she's good. So she's looking at mobilizing and, of course, monetizing 10 trillion euro of the common man. So she's basically going to take your cash. And I think over here in the States, they are getting ready for the transition out of the USD. USD will run parallel for a while, I believe, with the new stable coins. And then, of course, Trump has already set it up with the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. You mentioned the Genius Act. What's the Genius Act all about?
So they're pretty much giving guidelines and rules as to how stable coins can be issued within the United States.
Looks like we're giving too many facts, Fish.
They're
going to throw us in the back.
Round them up. They're sharing too much information.
One too many facts.
So the stablecoin bill that's essentially being issued is they're regulating how where, when, and why stablecoin issuers, particularly ones that are domiciled in the United States, such as Tether and Circle, how they can issue stablecoins. And you got to understand the reason why that's coming through is that Tether last year in 2024 was the 7th largest purchaser of treasuries. That is equivalent to nation state levels worth of buying power.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to want to regulate this,
Yes,
because if they bring in stable coins into the fold, it means that it gives the US dollar a slightly more shelf life. It gives the US dollar slightly more longevity, and it's an affront to the central bank digital currencies that are being issued by the Eurozone. It's a completely different tack. It's still going to be about removing control and independence from the Federal Reserve, right? They're not independent by any means, but it just means that credit creation and currency creation moves from the Federal Reserve to the Treasury, which is a massive shift in power structures. And that's why I think that Donald Trump has been going after Jay Powell as hard as he has.
You know, it's so funny because I was always of the belief that a US president couldn't touch the Fed. But if you have a look at the game that they're playing, but I still believe, look, Bish, I can't help but believe that Donald Trump is a Fed guy only because the Fed still have their number one and two things. They want to play around with the interest rates and print currencies.
Correct.
Look, but I want to jump forward because there's a big question on my mind. Bitcoin is one of your favorite assets. All of this setup and this transition to stable coins and, everything we're watching, what is this going to do to the value of Bitcoin?
It's going to send it to Valhalla. Like, that's the short end of it. The long end of it is that we're going to see Bitcoin track over 150K within the next few months. The amount of credit creation and currency supply that's pushing itself into the economy right now is sky high. It's only a matter of time. I mean, people are pretty happy with the fact that Bitcoin's gone from 75 to 110K in less than a month, but that's nothing, guys. Wait until we go from 110 to 150 in less than 1 month, and we'll be at over 200K within the next 12 months. It's going to be absolute insanity. It's going to be so bullish. It's an absolute glorious setup. Look, anything can happen in the markets. Market price goes up and down. But at the same time, you've got to realize that with the amount of currency creation, credit creation, it's just not sustainable. And there's a $300 trillion global credit market that needs to find its way into a $2 trillion asset class such as Bitcoin. Gold has already been a massive beneficiary of the move so far, adding $6 trillion into its market cap in 4 months alone. If there was $6 trillion worth of market cap added to Bitcoin, that would price it somewhere between 300 and 400,000 USD right now.
100%.
So it's still one of the best possible assets to grow your wealth.
Bish, now I guess the big question is, we are here to hear from some great Bitcoiners while we're in Vegas. What do you think they're going to be telling people to do with Bitcoin? Are they going to be telling everybody it's going to zero and to get out of it?
No, it's a very bullish setup. I think what they're going to be mainly focusing on is actually what is known as Bitcoin finance or BitFi, which is how to actually use your Bitcoin as a loan, how to use it as leverage. That's very entertaining behind us. I mean, that's really something.
All we need is some naked girls, and it'll just about make. Are we going to need naked ladies?
Look, we always keep ourselves well behaved here at BTR and at Stormrake. So really what it's coming down to is the fact that they're focusing on being able to provide a loan market and a credit market towards Bitcoin. Because one of the things I'm particularly bullish on is unlocking equity and capital in Bitcoin without having to sell it. And that's something that's being very bullish here. I mean, you've even got, for example, there's Bitcoin credit card issuers that are saying stack Bitcoin, not points. And I think that's very powerful.
That is very powerful. And actually, we saw something interesting. We were here in the Bellagio last night. We saw them advertising silver coins. What is that all about? You don't get that in Australia.
What was that thing called? The dollar coin?
The Morgan dollar. They're going to melt down the Morgan dollars. They're a low grade silver. They're like a 925 silver. But it's very nice to see that the people in the US have some appreciation of actual money. Could you believe that in a casino? I mean, what the hell is going on?
I mean, gold, silver, and Bitcoin, guys. We've heard it here first. It doesn't matter whether we're in the Philippines, Asia, America, wherever we go. These are the three assets that are globally recognized. We'll always have demand. We'll always have a willing buyer and seller, and that's what I love about them. The most liquid markets on the planet.
Absolutely. Now, Bish, just in the wind-up, obviously people should be buying Bitcoin right now. How quickly can they get in contact with you? So one of the big questions I get is how hard is it to buy Bitcoin?
It's as easy as picking up the phone, guys, and jumping on and saying, "G'day, I'd like to buy some Bitcoin," and that's the end of it. And if you're shy of jumping on the phone, send us an email to trade@stormrake.com and we'll get you taken care of. It doesn't take any more than an email or a phone call, and even the most technologically illiterate person, which, is really daunted by this whole setup, can absolutely get access to Bitcoin. And look, a lot of our clients, they use us because they don't want to worry about cold storage. You can at any stage you wish to withdraw. It's all about ease of use and simplicity of access. That's what I love to focus on.
It absolutely is, Bish. And also, I should say there is a touch of urgency about this. October 2025 has been marked as the starting point for one of the driving phases. We don't know which phase they're up to. They call them phases. It's a little bit like, Dr. Evil when he said, "I don't do phases," or whatever.
Yeah.
But they are getting ready for another phase of the CBDC, and they're going to slam it home. October 2025. I think people need to be getting into position now.
Absolutely.
What do you believe?
Absolutely. I mean, right now we've already seen a monumental rise in the Bitcoin price over the last month, up nearly 35-40% in 1 month. You don't want to miss out on those gains. Plus, you've got to protect your family and your sovereignty. So, which is what you're talking about, and I'm talking about the opportunity for monumental capital growth. So, don't get caught lacking, don't get caught offside.
Well, look, that's it. I think we better wind it up, Bish. I think the venue may want their table back at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
But we're very humbled to be here, Bish. Thanks very much for coming on, and thank you for sharing all your incredible knowledge.
Thank you for having me, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
And of course, that's it for me, the Baron of Bitcoin from Stormrake, and of course, the guy in the hat from Beat the Reset. Thank you very much. And as always, Bish, look after your health, look after your wealth, and
make good choices.
Make good. Well, I was going to do it together. Let's do it together.
Okay.
And
make good choices.
See you later, everybody.